Hey, peace, family, peace. Okay, I know I just shot a video, but that was for something totally different. I wanted to share this one too because I was actually going to share this the other day, or well, yeah, I guess the day before yesterday or something, after it actually happened, just to kind of like continue with the sharing in the process. I should have titled this video, Be Careful What You Wish For. Be careful what you ask the universe for because they will send it. So in the last video, I was talking about just the process and how much I really wanted to get to a space where I don't feel triggered by, other beautiful women or by other people who are wealthy or graceful or like who have elements to themselves that I'm lacking or that I feel that I'm lacking. And like I said, I want for anybody who hasn't watched the other videos, I want to kind of like just make it clear that I'm like the kind of person who celebrates everybody's beauty, everybody's accomplishments. Like I really feel real joy when other people are doing well. I actually have devoted a lot of my life to community efforts, to giving away my work for free, just to see people do well. Like so it's not like a hater type thing or anything like that, but it's very specifically that when I come across certain things, it's like a trigger. And a lot of times these triggers aren't conscious in us. And so they became conscious in me. And I realized, as far as like, sorry if I'm repeating myself for anyone who's listened before, but in the process of me getting to a state of real abundance, of a level of abundance where I feel like I can really give something to the world without having to take it away from myself. Like I don't have to break off a piece of myself to make someone better or to make people better. I want to have enough resources so that I'm overflowing with what I need for myself, what I need for my children, what I need for my family, and also have enough to be able to give out to the rest of the world. And I discovered in the process of desiring that and going for that, I'm blocked. I have blockages, and my blockages are all about my self-worth and my feeling about myself and what I can achieve and how much trust I have in myself. So I'm not going to make this video like super long. Well, maybe it will, because every time I say that I talk endlessly. But the lighting is going down. My camera is already cracked, so it's not going to get the best lighting possible. And I'll like as soon as my bug spray wears out, I'm out of here. So because I got bit up the other day doing video number 2, and I was really glad I did it because I got some deep insights. It's actually helping me to have to come out of myself and be my authentic self in front of other people, because I've always had like a fear of being seen. I have a fear of being watched. I have a fear of letting too much of myself out, because I was also raised, besides being abused, I was also raised to kind of feel that like I'm too much, my voice is too loud and my movements are too big and I'm doing too much in the room. I have too much energy. And so I constantly, like, I would get spankings and beatings and, talked down to for being too much. So I learned how, I had to learn methods, how to like hunch myself down and make myself small so that I wouldn't offend anybody else in the space, and like the little habits that you pick up in childhood, you basically just translate them into adult ways of being, and so for me now, that one of the ways of, not being too big or too anything is just to stay hidden, so I, a lot of times, especially like when Facebook came along, I'm like, yay, I'm a writer anyway, I write books. By nature, I'm a writer. So for me, hiding behind words and being able to get all my thoughts out clearly on paper without anybody having to look at me and examine me was like perfect for me, even in like friendships, almost my whole friendships for years has just been like, oh, come on, just text me. I'm on the run. I'm on the go. I'm doing something. And I'm trying to learn to really come out of that and develop more authentic relationships where I'm actually talking to people, because that was enough for me. For me, it's enough. If you get your emoji, anything bigger than a thumbs up, like we're good, connected. And so I was cool with that, but everybody isn't cool with that, and I'm trying to be a more fully connected person just in my friendships and my family relationships. I am very, very close to my family, and I have a lot of love, and I have members of my family who are like, your texts, every 2 weeks are not enough, like hit me up, call me sometimes, please, like let's make a real relationship. So at all levels, I'm just trying to learn to like stop hiding and to come out of myself and learning that I'm not too much and I'm not too big, and I am. I'm still too loud. I have a super loud mouth. I laugh super loud and all that stuff. And I'm learning to be okay with that, And everybody who loves me is like, they're fine with that. I'm probably annoying, but they're fine with that too. But yes, anyway, so back to like the, the self-love thing. So in the last video, I was just discussing those kind of things and how I feel about just getting to a place of where there's no trigger, where like there's no peace inside of me that feels like, oh my God, I'm not enough. Like I want to be able to celebrate other people's joy and other people's accomplishments and other people's beauty and other people's wealth and other people's abundance and other people's whatever it is that brings them joy. I want to be able to celebrate that too without ever having that sensation that I'm lacking something, like that they're, what they have is a reminder of my lack. And it's not, it's very little and it's very subtle. Like I only have particular triggers, I have a very definite sense of my value in the areas that I know I'm great and where I know that I'm accomplished, then I'm good. But very specifically for me, my femininity has been an issue of a trigger. And, I was raised in a household where I was abused and I was never told that I was attractive, or I was never told that and anytime I had accomplishments, rather than the accomplishment being enough, I was always chastised and criticized about what I could have done more so that the accomplishment could have been even bigger or better. So I just learned how to, and especially being abused, when you're like physically abused or emotionally abused, verbally abused for just being yourself or just doing whatever it was you thought was right or thought was enough, and then you're abused and made to feel unloved because of that. As a self-protective mechanism, you just develop this ability to totally criticize yourself because you want to find every possible flaw that you have and fix it before anybody else can see it so that you don't get injured. And so I took that habit from childhood with me all the way into adulthood, so that like my inner voice, my inner story that I'm telling myself all the time is never like, oh wow, man, you did such a great job with that, or oh, look at all the things I've done in my life, man. And it's like, okay, I did some great things, cool, yeah, but or okay, yeah, I'm pretty, but and the story is always like, but something, there's always something more that needs doing. And so it's just like really it's like time to end that, and so like this is a real mission for me. So in the other day, it's funny because I was talking about somebody. There's tons of beautiful sisters and amazing brothers out there online who I connect with all the time, and there's someone who has like these features just this like way of this femininity about her that I just like, oh, I wish like it triggers me. It gives me that like, oh man, if only I was that feminine. Damn, why am I not pretty like that? And I just feel so like lacking, I've been told, I know that I'm pretty, like mentally, I know that I'm pretty, I know that I'm attractive. Other people have let me know, my partner very much lets me know that I'm beautiful and I'm attractive and everything. So it's not an external thing, it's still internal, that because of probably the situations that I went through as a child, getting raped all through third grade, and being raped later on in life, and then also being abused, that my femininity was basically destroyed. It was negated because it just was like not acknowledged at all. Everything I did that was feminine, anything to do with like, there are things that are traditionally or socially considered feminine, was just ignored. And so I had no feminine value at all. And then the only times when my femininity meant anything was when somebody was taking it from me. And so I didn't feel that my femininity was worthy of respect or love or anything like that. And I would look at other women be feminine and beautiful, and men are just celebrating their feminine beauty. It hurt me, And the other day, I got triggered because of a situation, and I'm going to be honest. I wasn't sure if I was going to be honest or not, but I feel like I should be. My partner was celebrating somebody's feminine beauty, and I was triggered because that's like especially a person who I felt so that she's just really beautiful, and that I wish that I had that level of beauty and grace and femininity. And so because it was that certain person, it like really just triggered me, and I was like so hurt. And like I said, my partner gives like all efforts to remind me of how beautiful I am, and I'm very secure in that area, but somehow it still triggered me because it was that particular thing that I'm still trying to work through. And it was crazy that the day that I shot this video talking about, oh, I want to be, better with my like self-love and learn how to master that and learn how to just be okay and not be triggered, that very night the trigger incident happened, and I had to actually deal with it, and we ended up having to have a whole discussion about it. And it was like really embarrassing, because that's not the person that I am. That's not what I'm like, and so it's weird for me to even address it. Like, I didn't even want to say it out loud because I was so embarrassed that I was feeling that at first I didn't want to talk about it. But you know how it is when you don't talk about stuff. Oh, excuse me, guys. My phone is dying, so I'm actually gonna like go ahead and take this inside before this whole thing disappears. I before I even had a chance to finish getting through it, it was just like leaking out of me all over the place. So it was like I couldn't even, pretend that everything was okay. Okay, let me find somewhere. I couldn't pretend everything was okay. So I had to face it. I had to face it and deal with it. And it was like it was just like a really interesting growth process to have to work through that. And I'm really grateful for the experience of that, because I was able to work through it. But, it didn't get worked through until there were like tears and, just all kinds of whatever energy. I'm so sorry. This is so, oops. This is so random of me. I'm like in the darkness here and walking all over the place. But whatever, I told you guys I was going to come and be authentic. And here it is. Here's my authentic. Everything. There we go. All right. Not only am I authentic, my phone is now plugged in. So I'm not going to, pass out on you guys. And I'll get to finish what I'm saying. So let me come over here and finish speaking. But yeah, so I have like a couple of things to share about that experience. Number one, oh, thank you. Thank you so much. So number one, the importance of being connected with somebody who is able to accept your process, accept where you're at in your process, and like actually loving you unconditionally is a key. That is really key to being able to heal. Because if I hadn't been able to share that incident out loud, or how I felt about it, I would have just like festered. I would have taken it internally, and I would have just like let it fester and let it soak in and ignored it, and it would have erupted in some other way in the relationship. And so because I felt idiotic even feeling, those feelings, like I felt stupid feeling that, but whatever you feel, part of the process of like self-love is just honoring that whatever you feel is what you feel, and it's where you're at. So I had to be honest with myself, and I was feeling like really bad, and I was feeling like feeling ugly, and like, oh, wow, and my partner has to look outside of me if he's looking for feminine beauty. I don't have that, and I have other great things, but I don't have that, and I'm so sad, and I wish I had it. And I had to like really address that, because I didn't come at it correctly. I came at it with the usual like, oh, why do you feel like that? No, you're prettier than me. And it was pathetic. And I was like, oh God, oh nauseous. This is pathetic. How could you even say this? I can't stand girls who are like, and you think, why'd you look at that girl? And normally I'm like very secure. I'm not the type who, if my partner and I are walking down the street together and, he's looking at a pretty woman or something, like I'll probably be looking too, because like, hey, if, I'm not, I just admire beauty. Like it's not a sexual thing or whatever. It's just like beauty is beauty, and I can appreciate somebody's beauty. So I'm not triggered by that. Nobody is me. There are no replicas of me. So I'm not in competition with any other woman in the world. And I'm very aware of that, like at all levels, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. So it's not that, but it's very specifically like this particular thing about the femininity. And I realized how, in the course of having to work that through with my partner, I realized how much, how damaging, how much damage I still have to heal, because I have peeled back so many layers upon layers upon layers of like of healing with that. I had to heal trust. I had to heal feminine energy. I had to heal so much just from being raped as a child, over and over. And I did it. I got to a point where like I don't have bitterness towards, towards men. I went through all that, through the anger, the fear, the negativity, the pain, and thinking men were dangerous and bad. And that's like in my 20s, I was in that phase, and went through a long process of healing, and I got through so much. And then so for me to have to be triggered by something stupid like my partner is like admiring someone else's beauty, it was like, oh my God, like where are you? What is wrong? Like, how have you done this much healing and you're still here? What is the problem? And it was like really, really disheartening to just feel like no matter how much work I put in, that it's like sometimes it feels like this bottomless pit, like I'm always gonna feel like I'm not enough, and it's like, and I just was, oh man, it was like really painful. I just went through like a lot of pain over it. I went through the pain over the actual incident itself. But then afterward, right after it was happening, I realized that like, it was made a negative situation with my partner, which had nothing to do with him, and so bringing that negativity was like, wow. So not only am I bringing negativity, I am causing a specific energy. I'm like causing a specific energy that is something from my own past, something that I need to work through, and I'm bringing it forward into the current time and space where it doesn't belong. That's my own process, it's my own incident, so I shouldn't have even brought it to him in the first place. But then on the other hand, because of the type of partner I have, because he's very like spiritually aware and very advanced and developed, he was able to recognize, he was able to calm down from being not insulted by me, but from me bringing this negativity into our space, and recognize that I needed healing. And so rather than approach me like with defense or anger or throwing me back an attitude, also he approached me with love, and he just embraced me with love, and because he understood that that was what I needed. And it was like so incredible. And he was able to remind me that, first of all, my feminine beauty is not the only facet of me. Number one, that facet, there's nothing wrong with it. And then number two, that is not the only facet, that I'm a multi-dimensional being, and that I'm loved at all levels. And so to be hung up on this one area, so that even if I wasn't feminine or, physically beautiful or whatever, that my ability to be loved, my right to be loved, isn't hung up just on those things. And really, beauty is really based on like how we feel about ourselves. Of course, there's, geometry and things like that involved. And then there's also culture and our cultural overlays about what's beautiful and what we've been indoctrinated to believe is beauty. And then, obviously personal preference just from our soul. But beauty itself just comes from your own ability to shine, your own ability to be yourself, and your ability to love yourself. If you love yourself and you just shine your energy forward, and you feel good, and you make other people around you feel good, you're beautiful, and I know that. And again, I know that mentally, I know that, and on levels, but there are still those certain triggers, and that's what I'm trying to heal. I'm trying to heal to a level where none of those triggers exist for me, where I never feel like I'm not enough. And that incident that happened brought out this sensation for me that I'm not enough, and forced me to look at it directly head on, and forced me to put in some work in order to heal it, so I had to speak about it. I had to take accountability for my behavior, for the way I presented my feelings, and then also take accountability as far as finding a solution to what was necessary to happen in order to make it better. And again, because of the partner that I have, who's very spiritually aware too, he was able to say, well, what is it that what do you need from me in order to help you heal through that process? Because we both understand your process now. What do you need? And then we sat down, and he took me through this meditation. It's called a theta meditation. And we did this meditation. It grounds you down into the earth, into the core of the earth, and takes you up into the higher realms, and allows you to kind of call forth the energy that you're looking for, in order to kind of like reach further into your wholeness, to get to your wholeness. So he made a very just like, I can't even say how thankful I am to have a person like this in my life. Like I was actually mind blown. I was actually mind blown by the way he handled it. Because I've, obviously it's not our first relationship in life. We're not in high school. I've had relationships, and when any kind of level of, disharmony or something comes up, a lot of times, masculine energy will, if it feels disrespected or invaded or insulted, it will shut down or get angry or, go on the offense and then come back. And if you're a woman in a space who needs healing, that offensive masculine energy can feel even more painful, because I've come from a space where I've been seriously damaged by masculine energy in my life. So I need somebody who knows how to love me gently and who knows how to stay solid in when I am going through a tempest, when I'm going through a storm, rather than like flipping the ship over and going and turning and creating his own storm. He was able to stay fully solid in his masculine energy and embrace me and bring me back to a space of peace, and so I'm like so incredibly sorry, excuse me. So I've got bug spray there. So incredibly grateful for his ability to do that. The more positive, the more like times that we go through, not even just positive, like just the more times I go through with my partner where every new scenario brings up some new facet of us that we haven't touched or seen or addressed yet in each other. Our ability to work through challenges, to connect with each other, to understand and recognize our internal process, and then to also recognize each other and to see each other and to be there and like willing to take each other through our process and heal is the most healing. Like for me, what I needed in my life and in my existence was love that heals, was love that, and so I have that. And so, I just want to, again, I talk about my relationship every single video because I'm in a really happy relationship, and I feel like it is like coinciding with my process of mastering self-love. I feel like I hit a point of mastering self-love where I was able to attract somebody who reflects that back to me. And I feel like, truthfully, the next step in your process of mastering self-love is, it's just like the chakras. Like the first chakra is about self. Second chakra is about how we connect to others. Third chakra is about, our power play with others, our dynamic with others, exploring that connection. Fourth is about, solidifying the connection. So getting to a place with mastering self-love kind of goes through those elements also. Goes through the self, where you have to just work with you and what you have and where you're at. And you have to raise your vibration to a level where it can hit that second place, and where you can connect with another being, where you are able to connect. But once connecting with another being is not enough. You have to connect with another being and then explore the dynamic with you and that other being. And you have to be able to dance. You have to be able to like move and flow and have good days, bad days, and be able to work everything through. And once you're able to do that, once you master the level of dynamic, which is like the third chakra, you and your vibration continues to rise, you arrive at the level of the fourth chakra, where so now your self-love is not just mastered within, it is risen up to the point where it's mastered to where you can connect with others in love, and where you can be fully at peace. And so that even if somebody is having a storm or you're having a storm, somewhere in the middle of that storm you realize that you're just going through something, and that that this is not the natural you, this is the overlay you, the you that has been injured, and the you that needs healing, and the you that needs to come back to center. You can be in that space. And to me, from my experience and my observations through life of myself and other people, you cannot, mastering self-love is only, getting it just in you is only one level. So I definitely think all of those things are connected. Then the next step after that, I guess if I'm putting it in, chakra order, I guess the next step after that would be that level of expression, where now the self-love I have is being able to be expressed out into the world, where and that really, I guess that's where I'm at. I've arrived at love. I've arrived at a place of peace and love and joy and a real strong foundation with that. And my next level, the next natural level of where I'm going to with my ability to love is that place of expression. So this is like just this, like I said, I said in the other two videos also, this is huge for me to be able to sit on a video. I've been hiding from videos for years, people, I didn't even know how to work Facebook Live until a couple months ago, because I was like, oh, I hope this thing, doesn't ever turn on. Like I was horrified. I was horrified of being seen, because being seen in my piece of my, abused child self, inner self, being seen means you're being open to injury, because if you're seen, something about you is going to be found lacking, and you're going to be abused, you're going to be injured because of whatever it is you're lacking. So it's extremely an anxiety. It causes a lot of anxiety for me to get on a video, and then to get on a video and actually talk about my real feelings, my real process, what I'm really going through in order to heal and master like my own self-love, has been like a real it's like been a real challenge for me. And the more I'm doing these, like I'm floored by the feedback that I've been getting, and how other people are feeling in this process too. And then one of the reasons I'm doing it is because I know I can't be the only one going through this. I know that there are other sisters out there, and other brothers too, like, who are feeling these kind of energies, and are trying to act cool and strong, and or use external things to kind of like mask whatever we don't want to show the world that we feel we're lacking. Like I was saying, I think I mentioned in the first video, talking about getting breast implants. Like I'm a person that, like, I don't take aspirin. Why would I get breast implants? Like the desperation, the pain to be enough was so severe. The desperation to be enough femininely was so huge that I was willing to do that. And every time that I ever tried to go do it, something would happen. Like I had crazy or not, random things happen, but I never ever got the opportunity to do it. For like 20 years, I was trying to do that. Not all the time, but off and on. And, times would come up when I had the money, then boom, it would be gone, or something would come up otherwise. And then the most recent time, actually, when I was kind of like crushed in my femininity and working that through, I had actually planned on using some money that I had put aside and getting breast implants done. And that was like relatively recently, and I'm being transparent, and again, it is embarrassing to say this, because if somebody else told me they were planning to do that, I would talk them all the way down off that ledge, especially if I was like, come on, you're beautiful, you're accomplished, you have great things going on. Why would you do that to yourself? So it's embarrassing for me to have to admit that that's the level of pain that I was at, where I needed so badly to feel feminine. I need to feel feminine. I'm like, and there's still part of me that's lacking that. I need to feel feminine. It's part of my being. I came here as a woman. I came here as a Black woman circa 2019 in the United States. So like some of the aspects of who I came here and where I came, I need to actualize those. So for me, I came as a woman. So to not be able to actualize my femininity, it feels like I'm not completing something. So to come here and not be feminine, when I look at the other women, just be graceful and beautiful and all that, and not be able to be that, is like something is lost. Something, I came all the way to this planet in this form, and I'm not even able to complete what I came here as. So it's like really difficult. It's like a pain that is really difficult to explain for people who don't feel that. And the people who do feel this, I know you understand, exactly what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't matter how many people tell you you're pretty from the outside, or how many things you've done, or how much stuff you've mastered, or how many, visions and goals and that you've accomplished. If it's something that you feel is missing, there's no repair for it. And there's no the temporary repair of something like slicing my breasts open and having factory made bags inserted into me. That's a temporary repair, and I was ready. I was really heavily considering going through that temporary repair, just so the noise in my head, the noise that says that I'm ugly and that I'm not enough and that I'll never be enough to a man and that I'll never be beautiful, the noise, and this has been over a lifelong process. I'm not saying that I feel totally like that now. Like, I feel beautiful. I know that I'm beautiful. I know I have gifts. But at the level of where the total inner critic shuts off, I haven't reached that level yet, and that's what I'm working towards. But I was willing to do that, to get breast implants, just to shut that voice off that tells me all the time inside that I'm ugly. That voice that reminds me that, like, I'm pretty, but I'm not pretty enough for whatever is the thing that my broken piece of me inside thinks that if I was just a little bit prettier, that I would have that thing. You know, if I was just this much prettier, I would be so abundant and life would be so easy. My life would be flowing, and which is a myth anyway. I already know, you know. But again, what you know here is not the same as what you know here ever. You know, they eventually can join, but they have entirely separate. This is a mind. This is a mind. This is a mind. They're by no means are ever required to be on the same page. So, you know, so this mind does not believe any of those things. This mind does not believe that I'm beautiful. This mind and this mind believe that I'm beautiful, believe that I'm accomplished. But this mind is like, sometimes you are, you know, like depends on what you do today. Let's see, you know, and it's very conditional. So I was willing to do that in order to put that Band-Aid on that voice, you know, and shut it up. And right around the time I was getting close to that becoming a reality for me, I found out that I had breast cancer. And so it was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll be reallocating my money to healing breast cancer, you know? And so the process of healing breast cancer, I had to actually really look, because to actually get cancer in my, you know, my symbols of, you know, physical symbols of femininity meant that the injury was really deep. For the injury, it's one thing when the injury is emotional, which is already painful enough, but by the time the injury manifests into your physical reality as an injury, as a pain, means that like that's a really heavy level that it's necessary to address it. And so I had to go all the way within and address all of this energy, all of this lack of self-love, all of this, you know, fear that my femininity isn't enough. I had to address all of that, and at the root. And I healed the breast cancer. I healed breast cancer in a month, from the day that I was diagnosed with breast cancer until the time I actually was going to go, because my mother died of breast cancer at 32 years old. I have other women in my family who have died of cancer. And just based on family history and on the fact that I have two children who I do not want left with no mother, I felt like it was the best decision, even though, again, I'm natural. I don't do chemo, stuff like that. I don't take, you know, chemical medicines. Despite those things, I was willing to undergo surgery, just the surgery itself, and just have the tumor removed. And I got all the way to the surgery, and they went to cut open my breast and take out a tumor, and were searching for a tumor, and there was no tumor inside my breast. Because of the work that I did. And I'm telling you, like in 30 days from the day that I diagnosed it until the day I was laying on that operating table, the tumor was gone completely. But in the process of that, because I used that 30 days to use every single means at my disposal to really look like, why are you this? Why have you become this? Why have you let your lack of self-love almost cause your death? Who are you? What are you? What are you doing? What are you being? What have you become? And so I had to take an honest, pull all the veils off and look at myself so clearly and so deeply in order to get to that place. And it was brutal. Like, it was really brutal, because I had to look at how injured, how I've walked into situations that negated my femininity because I didn't feel like I had it. And I had to address every single incident, every dynamic I've ever had with a man, with my daughters, with anything where my femininity was right. The process of giving birth to them, like every incident of my actual femininity, I had to go back, trace through all of it, and look at what am I now? What have I become? And how do I take this out of me so that it's no longer a part of my being? And so I did that. You know, I was successful with that process. Still cost a fortune. But, you know, once I got to that root, I realized I was able to look at the root of the issue and see really that this is what it was, you know. So I got to that place. So it's out on the table now. So now it's like out on the table, all the pieces are scattered, and it's like the problem is the self-love needs more mastery. And so that's been my mission, you know. So ever since I went through the healing stage of that, my mission has really been dedicating myself to getting better in that area. And I am just, you know, changing by leaps and bounds, but the process is never easy. And so like that's another reason that I think I originally had just intended to kind of like make one video about this, and like, hey, 1 10-minute video, like, oh, I'm going through this self-love thing, hey sisters, you know, hope you get it too, and leave it at that. And I'm on this third video now just kind of like talking about it, because I actually want to share, like, a lot of people feel like the process is, you know, once you figure it, once you know that it's there or something, that the process all of a sudden just becomes easy and smooth. Like, we're always wanting everything to be easy and smooth, you know, and it never is. It's not, you know. And so like I like to just share what it looks like. And I really, really, like, I'm telling you, the other night after this incident happened, it was so embarrassing to me. It was so embarrassing to bring it up and speak it out loud to my partner, that like I never ever ever thought that I would actually be able to say this out loud on a video, you know, like that this has happened. But in the process of finding my voice and speaking my truth and being authentic, because I have to love me enough so that I can be my real self all the time, in all ways, and not hide any of me. And I have to love myself enough to know that, like, whatever I say is going to be okay, because like this is who I am. Like, this is me, this is me, this is my story, this is what I am. And so I wanted to share that and say also, you know, for any other couples who, if you do go through stuff like this, you know, like, for, you know, to take it back down to like something specific, like to take it to its smallest kind of common denominator, to call it jealousy, which it's not jealousy. Like, if you look into the root of what it is, when people feel jealous, jealousy is a sense of lack. It's a sense of lack of something in you. There's no, I mean, jealousy is just like a surface emotion, just like how, you know, anger is a surface emotion covering fear. Jealousy is a surface emotion covering your own sense of lack. And a lot of times we experience a sense of lack, and we expect our partners to fix that for us. It's nobody's job to fix your sense of whatever you feel about yourself inside. So to whatever degree you're able to take accountability for your own emotions and take responsibility for your own healing, that's the level at which your partner will be able to meet you in harmony. Because if you can't get to the place where you recognize, like, hey, you know, when I went to my partner completely humble, I was really embarrassed that it happened. I cannot believe that I allowed his what felt to me like his excessive, you know, appreciation of someone else's beauty. And it was excessive for me because I have a low pain tolerance for the femininity problem. You know, for somebody else who's completely at peace and joy with their femininity, their pain tolerance would be in a totally different place than mine. So my pain tolerance for having my femininity negated, or somebody else's is so much better. My pain tolerance for that is very low. So for me, I received what he did as excessive, where in any other time, and once I go through this and, you know, heal past that, that wouldn't even be excessive. In a year from now or in a month from now, I might not even feel the same as that. And in fact, already I don't, because we spoke about the incident, we addressed it, and he gave so much love to the situation. And we did so much healing together to actually really look at it, that it healed something, you know, it shifted something, and I was able to grow past, a little farther past, you know, where I was with it originally. But the first thing was recognizing, this is my problem. This is something I brought into this moment, into this current space, and I take responsibility for bringing this negativity, and this is what it's made of. This is what it looks like. This is what it's made of. And I'm sorry that it happened, and I'm working on my best to heal it. So for other people who are going through these kind of things, like in a relationship where like one partner or the other feels jealous or trapped or feels negated or doesn't feel beautiful or doesn't feel acknowledged in some kind of way, I would recommend really to both partners, but first to the person who's feeling it, to go within and just peel back the layer, look underneath whatever it is, and actually address your own personal feeling for like, okay, I feel jealous, but because, you know, oh, well, my partner disrespected me by doing that. Unless somebody is like, you know, unless like, okay, sister to sister, unless your man is secretly putting his penis into somebody else, he's not disrespecting you. You have a level of what is okay, and that needs to be explained and shared. But remember that whatever is your level of what's okay is based on where you're at with your own self, where you're at with your own self-love. with your own sense of joy, with your own sense of peace with yourself, and then your own sense of trust in your partner. So those are factors like that has to be considered, just like, oh, I'm jealous and he disrespected me. There's no rules of that. I know we have cultural rules, and a lot of times with certain cultures, just looking at somebody the wrong way is like some kind of negativity, or looking at somebody too much the right way or for too long is negativity. And those are all specific triggers that don't actually have anything to do with the actual, that behavior or that action themselves. It has to do with how you receive it. So you have to back all the way up, ask yourself, why did I receive it? Why am I receiving it like this? And then once you take accountability for why you're receiving it, and the answer doesn't always come immediately. The answer can come sometimes it takes months before you, but once you ask, the answer is going to come. I mean, nutshell, the answer is going to come if you really ask honestly to the world, to the universe, why am I feeling like this? Why is this my response? Why do I feel like this when this happens? You'll be able to go back into yourself. And then once you realize where it's coming from in you, then it's the next thing is it's your responsibility to take it to your partner and be vulnerable, and to be authentic and vulnerable with your partner, and just say like, hey, something like, I mean, I broke down with my partner the other day. I was crying and I felt so embarrassed and so stupid, and I felt like so frustrated because I just feel like, wow, I've been trying to heal for years now, and this stupid thing is still here. Like, is it ever going to heal? Is it going to be like, is this some permanent bump in my, being that's never ever going to go away? Like, I'm trying so hard to make it go away, but things get healed in layers, and again, part of self-love is about being patient with ourselves. And so because there was no immediate danger or panic of him not loving me anymore or leaving me because he's like fed up of my behavior or anything. Like, we're too harmonious to have that kind of energy. And that's partly my responsibility, because that's the person I choose to be. I choose to keep harmony and love and have that be the foundation of my relationship. And I work hard at all times to allow love to be the foundation, to love and peace and balance to be the foundation of my relationship. When I'm serving food, I like everything to be pretty on the plate and make it nice and serve it nice, and we sit down and we eat with nice music. Like, in all areas, I'm saying I like to have harmony and joy. So I'm putting my effort that I can. And so when I have moments like that where it's difficult, I'm actually, I'm still able to be received with love. Like, okay, all right, well, she had a blip, and because I was honest, here's my process. I'm really sorry. But I was so frustrated, and I just like cried, like, oh my God, like sometimes it's just like gut wrenching, like, God, no matter how much I try to heal, I'm not healing. Like, when is it ever going to happen? Like, when can I tick this off my box and just be at peace and be, perfect? And, who knows, who knows if that will ever come. Maybe I am permanently damaged from my childhood. Maybe it's going away. Just based on my whole life experience so far, I would say it's probably going to heal, because the place that I started out in and the person I am now are so entirely different from each other that I can't imagine that if I continue on this path, dedicated and vulnerable and open to healing and growing and doing better, I can't imagine that eventually I'm not going to just like get past this, So I'm just like, courage to everybody who is going through a process, courage to all of you, and much love. And I guess I'm gonna, end it there. I think my bug spray wore off, so I'm gonna go ahead and head back inside. And yeah, I just wanted to, just like keep that out there. But for everybody who thinks it's like easy, or like, oh, you're pretty, you don't have any problems or anything like that, I'm telling you, when you suffer through the level of abuse that I had to go through as a child, it definitely leaves scars. And so I want to remind everybody too, who's a parent, please be mindful of the way you speak to your children, please, because the voice you give them stays with them for their entire lives. They have to fight. All the energy that I've devoted to healing through my life could have been devoted to, I could have built a pyramid by now if I had used that energy on something else. Like, it's pointless to have had to go through this much stuff just to get to a place of like, okay, I'm normal now, I'm regular, I'm just regular place of peace and joy. But regardless, I'm still thankful that I'm on the journey, and that this is my life. This is the life I came to do, and I'm living it. So it's my process and everything. But yeah, I just want to say, like, please don't give up hope. If you're stuck in a place like that, if you're in a relationship where that, there's like that toxic kind of balance between you two, look at yourself and look at what you're doing. Are you being totally vulnerable? Are you being open? Are you being honest? Are you being your real authentic self? And if you're not being that, can you be? And I think really, like, the main question to ask yourself in a relationship is, like, if you're in a relationship where you can't be your authentic self, or you can't bring anything that you are, open up any bag of worms and spill it on the table and say, like, honey, I need your help to heal this. I'm sorry, but I need your help. If you're not able to do that, you may be in the wrong relationship. And if you don't know if you can do that, take some time, explore, go within, feel it, do little experiments. Like I said, for me, doing these videos is an experiment for me, because this is out of my comfort zone. Having to get on a camera and tell the world that, hey, I did something stupid the other night, is like way out of my comfort zone. I like to just be, hey, peace, positive, good, everything is good, we're all working together, and I speak to some people, and I'm like, I'll speak to people, I've known some people on Facebook for years. Like, I know this one brother for 11 years. Every time we speak, like, hey, peace, brother, how you doing? Oh, yeah, good, I'm elevated, I'm healing, I'm working. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's the right answer. That's the words we're supposed to say. But how are you? How are you doing? How are you actually doing? Don't give me all this PO elevated. Yeah, I could say all that too. We're always elevating. I'm breathing. I could say breathing. If somebody asks me how I'm doing every day, yeah, I'm breathing, and like, obviously we're elevating. You exist. That means that something you do is going to, take in and turn into a lesson, and you're going to use it to change and go forward. So, if you can't be an authentic self, and if you're afraid to be authentic, you have some walls within yourself to break down. And until you break down those walls, you can never get into like a space of real, honest peace and balance with somebody else. So, but anyway, I said like 5 minutes ago, I was about to, walk in and, do my bug spray thing. So let me stop talking. And I love you all. Thank you again for, for joining this, and for, connecting with me, and for like working through this process with me. Because by having this platform, and by being able to share, and by all of you giving me such like really loving and encouraging feedback, I'm feeling less and less ashamed. My inner critic, just with these 3 videos, my inner critic is like dying a little bit, and that's been really, I didn't expect that, or I didn't think that was coming. That's not why I did this. And that's like a side effect of me being able to just speak my truth. And so this is really healing for me, to be able to talk out loud and say all this. So thank you guys so much for sharing this with me, and as always, thank you to my love. And I wish all of you love, peace, joy, and we're going to get there together. Oh, and I also wanted to say, I just wanted to remind everybody too, I'm actually about to start a course. I'm doing a course on serpent power, and about using serpent power in order to bring balance for emotional balance and for physical wellness. It's going to be like a 6-series course. The first course is going to be about physical wellness, and about like setting our bodies up to be the channel that like receives all this love and joy and everything. And until we kind of like get the body in the space of that joy, it's sometimes difficult to get the emotions, which is the next level, to get that there too. If you're like, something simple, like if your gut flora is out of balance, your emotional balance will be off. So you can be depressed, you can be, sick, angry, not able to receive information when people talk to you, and it changes your life, and gut flora and parasites can do that, so gut flora and parasites can change your whole course of your life without you even realizing that's what it was. So, but anyway, like I said, so I'll be throwing that up there. And just letting people know about that as I develop it. I'm working on the curriculum right now, but yeah, I'm just like, I'm in flow. I've gotten so much healing, and I want to give so much healing, and so the work that I've done, just because I've seen now, I've actually watched where I started and where I've gone to, where I've arrived at now. And by no means am I perfect. I'm not all the way there yet. But for anybody who's been through the level of trauma that I've been through, and to be able to still be, some level of wholeness, this is from doing these works. So it worked for me. So I'm hoping that whoever else out there can benefit from it will be able to benefit. So like I said, I'm throwing up this course, and I will let you guys know about that too. But for now, okay, now I felt my first bug bite, so it's really time to go. Love you all. Peace.